What is up, everyone, and welcome back to the Talking Sports podcast right here on YouTube, Apple Podcast, and Spotify. As always, I am your host, Peter DiBiasi, and thank you guys for either watching, listening, or clicking on a brand new episode of TSP. As always, we are sponsored by Underdog Fantasy, guys. Make sure you use the code TSP for a 100% deposit match up to $100 on Underdog Fantasy. With the NFL season and the college football season right around the corner, it is the best time to get on Underdog Fantasy. Make sure you guys click the link in the description. And as always, follow us on social media at Talking Sports PD. Those links will also be in the description as well on X and on Instagram if you guys want to keep up with our top 10 player rankings, our weekly NFL picks, our weekly college football picks, our weekly college football rankings, a ton of content on X and on Instagram. So as always, make sure you guys follow us on social media at Talking Sports PD. Links are in the description. I love this time of the year, right? I'm recording August 17th. You guys will be listening to this the eve of August 19th, and obviously the days following that night. I love this time of season, and I talked about it in last week's episode when we did our NFL over-under predictions. I gave you 3 teams that are over that I think are going to go over their win total, and I gave you 3 teams that I think are going to go under their predicted Vegas win total. So if you guys haven't checked that out, please go check that out. It's a great listen. If you can tell by the title, we're doing our 2025 NFC preview. So I have a lot of content coming your guys' way. This week, NFC preview. Next week, college football preview. And then the following week, we'll be giving you guys our AFC preview. And as always, make sure you guys listen to this on social media and make sure you follow us on all of those platforms. But yeah, I'm going to give you guys a ton of content. I'm not going to do a video or a podcast on predictions for awards, but I will put out a graphic. So make sure you guys, like I said, follow us on social media. I'll put out a graphic, and that will say who I think is doing MVP, Offensive Player of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, Coach of the Year, all that fun stuff. So we'll put out a graphic right before the season starts. So I'm going to share my screenshot. So I went through every single NFL game. This is the NFC preview. I went through every single NFL game, and I predicted every single NFL game, and this is what they spout for our predictions. So I've NFC East, NFC North, NFC South, and NFC West. We're going to break down from top to bottom. So I'm going to start with the NFC East. I have the Giants going 4-13, 1-5 in the division, and 4-8 in conference. Yeah, I think it's going to be another tough year for the Giants. Their win total is right around 5.5 this year. I think they have arguably the hardest schedule in the National Football League. So I think we will see Jackson Dart at some point this year. I don't know when. I don't know if it's going to be before week 10. But I think at some point this year, we will be seeing Jackson Dart on an NFL field. I have the Giants going 4-13. I do think we will probably see at some point this year Jackson Dart on a field. I just don't know if the Giants have enough talent. I think they're trending in the right direction. I really do. I don't know if they have enough talent. And obviously, I'll give you guys my my playoff predictions for the NFC post. Obviously, when we break down the divisions, I won't share my screen with that, but I'll give you guys my NFC playoff predictions. I have the Cowboys going 10-7, so a bounce back year. We'll see if they make the playoffs. We'll see if they make the playoffs based on the tiebreaker. But I have the Cowboys going 10-7 and having an absolute bounce back year. I do like Dak Prescott. I think if he stays healthy, he's going to be he's a good NFL quarterback. He needs to be healthy. CeeDee Lamb, they have to figure out this Micah Parsons stuff. They added Jaden Blue at the running back situation. They added George Pickens. So the receiving core and the offense with Jake Ferguson, George Pickens, and CeeDee Lamb, if they get some sort of production at running back, this team's offense is going to be really good. It is. It's if the defense is, and especially the secondary, is going to be consistent enough. They have a new head coach. If Dak Prescott stays healthy, this team is a double-digit win season, 10-7. Commanders, 10-7. They made the NFC Championship game. Last season. I'm not saying they're taking a step back. Their over-under win total is 9.5. So based off this, I have them going over. But I do think there is a chance where we see a slight regression, similar to what we saw with C.J. Stroud and the Houston Texans last year, where I think they could take a step back. I have them 10-7, and I'll spoil it right now for you guys as I'm trying to look through my notes. I have them making the playoffs. So I have them making the playoffs. I had the Giants missing out. I had Dallas missing out on the playoffs, going 10-7 and missing out on the playoffs. But I have Washington going 10-7. Philly, the defending Super Bowl champions, I have them going 12-5, 4-2 in division, 9-3 in conference. Enough said with what the Eagles do defensively. They're still super talented offensively, obviously, with Saquon Barkley, A.J. Brown, and Devontae Smith. I'm not like one of those people that hates Jalen Hurts. I don't think he's a top 4 quarterback. He's anywhere from 5 to 8, in my opinion. You can rank up anywhere there. But he works for this team because of how good defensively they are, with the talent they have at receiver, with the talent they have at running back. He doesn't need to be a superstar. He just needs to be a good NFL quarterback, and that's what he is. I think they go 12-5 again, and I think they finish into the playoffs, and I think they get in the playoffs, and I have them getting in as the 2 seed in the NFC. So from the NFC East, 4-13 Giants, 10-7 Cowboys, 10-7 Commanders, 12-5 Eagles. I have 2 of those teams making the playoffs. I have the Commanders just sneaking in as the 7 seed. I have the Eagles at 12-5, missing out on the bye once again and becoming the 2 seed in the NFC. And Cowboys fans, brace yourself for a second. You go 10-7, but you miss the playoffs as they finish as the 8th seed. Moving on to the NFC North. We'll start from bottom to the top. If you missed my over-under predictions, before I say here, go watch that. I had the Vikings going under 8.5. Was it 8.5? Yeah, I had the Vikings going under 8.5. This was a 14-win total, 14-win team last year. I mentioned in that episode, I don't think they have the same quarterback play. I think J.J. McCarthy as a rookie is going to take a little bit of time. I'm missing Jordan Addison for a couple games. I don't love their running back room. I know Aaron Jones is still talented, but I think he's on the wrong side of his career. Justin Jefferson is great. I don't love the defense. And they play in a really hard division, as you can see, with 2 teams above 500 and a team right around 500 in the Chicago Bears. I like the Vikings to go under, obviously missing the playoffs at 6-11, going 2-4 in that division, 4-8 in conference. Vikings fans, close your ears, close your eyes. You can't really close your ears. Cover your ears and close your eyes. They're going 6-11. I'm going to brace myself for a second when a Bears fan throws something at their TV. 8-9 Chicago Bears missing out on the playoffs, as you guys can tell, with Cowboys missing out on the playoffs at 10-7. This is the step in the right direction for Chicago. To be fair, I had them going 4-2 in division, so playing well against a very good division record, 7-5 in conference. I just don't like their out-of-conference schedule. I think that trips them up. I think they actually are a competitive team in this division. I just don't like what they have to face out of conference. So with that being said, I have them going 8-9, and I don't think this is going to be an 8-9 where you're like, are we questioning who Caleb Williams is? No, I think we're going to know who Caleb Williams is. I think we're going to find out that Caleb Williams is a franchise quarterback. But I think their schedule and that division is tough enough for them to be a good team and still right around 500 with a 17-game season, which is very unfortunate. But I do think 8-9 will be a team for the Chicago Bears, missing out on the playoffs, but seeing a progression with Caleb Williams and then obviously Ben Johnson in year 1. Green Bay Packers coming in at 11-6. I have them finishing as the number 5 overall seed in the NFC. So the third playoff team that is into it. So they're the 5 seed in the NFC. I have them going 11-6, 3-3 in division, and 6-6 in conference. I have some people picking the Green Bay Packers to go to the Super Bowl. I'm not going that far. I'm not even picking them to win the division. I'm not saying they can't. I need to see more consistent of Jordan Love. But the talent-wise on this roster and the consistency this team has produced year in and year out with Matt LaFleur makes me feel like they're an absolute lock for the playoffs. If they want to take the next step, which is obviously win the division, but obviously go farther than the wild card round, which they did last year's postseason as the 7th seed, they need to be more need to have more consistent quarterback play from Jordan Love. Look, I think Josh Jacobs is a really good running back. They drafted Matthew Golden. They have talent on the defense. I do think they have a ceiling with what Jordan Love can be unless he takes the next step. That ceiling, to me, is 11-6. I'll have to let you know where they finish in the NFC in the playoffs. I have them 11-6. Then the team that wins the division and, no spoiler alert, gets the number 1 overall seed in the NFC once again, and that is the Detroit Lions, finishing 12-5, 3-3 in division, 9-3 in conference. I love this Detroit Lions team. Injuries really hurt them last year. I wasn't say ridiculed. That's just not the right word at all. I don't know what I'm saying, but really hurt them down the stretch in the season, right? We remember the Bills game where they just could not stop the Bills. They lose in the divisional round at home to the Commanders after getting the 1 seed and a bye, and they defensively just weren't great. Jared Goff was not great in that game. I like Jared Goff a lot. I don't know if he's a Super Bowl winning quarterback. Spoiler alert, maybe he can get the team to the Super Bowl. But I like the Detroit Lions a lot this year. They're super uber talented. Aiden Hutchinson's coming back. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery, Jamison Williams, Sam Laporta. That offense is stacked. If they can get healthy defensive play, this team is the best team in the NFC, in my opinion. I have them going 12-5 and getting the 1 seed. So far in the playoffs, we have the Eagles. We have the Lions as the 1 seed, Eagles as the 2 seed, flipping back, Green Bay as the 5 seed, and the Commanders as the 7. So we're missing obviously 3 and 4, the 2 last division winners, and 1 more wildcard team. We'll see who that would be. NFC South. This might be a little controversial. You can tell. I do not have Atlanta. I do not have Tampa winning the division, but we'll get there in a second. The Saints. If you haven't watched the over-under predictions episode, I talked about the Saints going under 6.5. Well, 3-14, 2-4 in division, and then 2-10 in conference. This Saints team has absolutely, and we'll get to the AFC in a couple weeks with that video, on par with the Cleveland Browns with no talent. No talent whatsoever from top to bottom. Their quarterback room is disaster. Jake Haener, not an NFL quarterback. I like Spencer Rattler in college at times, not an NFL quarterback. And Tyler Shuck, it had no business ever being a second-round pick. That was one of the worst picks we will see. If you want to clip this, I stand by that. He's a 25, 26-year-old rookie quarterback who was not great or consistent in college whatsoever in big games. Tyler Shuck is not an NFL starting level quarterback whatsoever. Outside of Chris Olave, and he needs to stay healthy, they lack a lot of talent at receiver. They lack a lot of talent defensively, and Alvin Kamara is on the wrong side of his career, even though he's had a very productive NFL career. I talked about this in the video. They're going under 6, my last episode. They're going under 6.5. They're 100% going under 6.5. They're going 3-14 and being a kind of viable for the top pick. And guess what? If you're 3-14, you're picking probably 1 or 2. You're picking a quarterback. So why did you take Tyler Shuck in the second round and wasted a valuable day 2 pick on a quarterback that won't be your starting quarterback next year? I have no idea. That was a disaster of a decision. I felt bad with what I'm doing next. Carolina 5-12, 2-4 in division, 4-8 in conference. I like Carolina. I think it's just what I did when I predicted games. I hope I'm wrong here. If I'm thinking I'm going to be wrong on one team's, or really wrong on one team's potential record, I'm not saying I think Carolina's a double-digit win team. I think they can get to 7-8 wins. I really do. It's just how I predicted and how it went, right? And when you're doing it, it is what it is. I like what I saw from Bryce Young in a small sample size of last season when he got benched, and then they made him a starter, and he was productive. They drafted McMillan from Arizona. They need a big year 2 from Xavier Legette. They still have Adam Thielen. They have talent with Chuba Hubbard at running back. They also drafted Trevor Etienne. I think they're good on defense. I think they're solid on defense. Derek Brown's obviously their key on defense. I don't know if they're going to be much better. I hope they are. I think if I'm going to be wrong on a team, it's them. But I have them going 5-12. Do the Tampa Bay Buccaneers make the playoffs this season? Nope. Unfortunately, I don't think they make the playoffs, but I have them going 10-7, losing out on a tiebreaker and just missing out on the wild card. So only one NFC South team will be making the playoffs in my predictions. Spoiler alert, when you see who's making the 2 playoff teams are coming out, obviously out of the NFC West. I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers going 10-7 this year. 3-3 in division, 6-6 in conference. I think this team is a double-digit win season. So would I be shocked if they make the postseason? Would I be shocked if they win the division? No and no. I think they can 100% make the playoffs and win the division. This was a tiebreaker thing, right? As you can see up there, Dallas 10-7 missed the playoffs out on the tiebreaker. The 49ers at 10-7 maybe are probably going to make the playoffs in these predictions based off a tiebreaker. And then if you look even in the division, even closer, they missed the playoffs because guess what? They lose the tiebreaker to Atlanta because they have the same record, and that's the division record. So I think Tampa Bay struggles in division, and they go 3-3. This receiver room is great. It really is. Chris Godwin comes back healthy. Mike Evans, they drafted Emeka Ibuka. They have Bucky Irving. So this might be a bold prediction. I'm really high on Atlanta, and I don't think we're going to have 4 of the same division winners again. We had the Rams last year. Did we have the Rams last year? Yeah, we had the Rams last year. We had Tampa Bay last year. We had Detroit and Philly. And I know NFC East is known for not having repeat division winners. I think Philly breaks that mold because I think they're too good. So I like Tampa Bay a lot. I love Baker. His resurgence of his career has been awesome. I think Tampa Bay Buccaneers could 100% win the division. Would I be shocked if they win the division? Nope. Would I be shocked if they made the playoffs? Nope. Just how it worked out in this prediction. It's nothing against Tampa Bay. I think they're a very good team. So I guess if I was going to be wrong on some team, it'd probably be Carolina. If I was going to be wrong on some team not making the playoffs, it's probably going to be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And finally, the winner of the NFC South, the Atlanta Falcons, going 10-7 in the regular season. Overall 10-7, 5-1 in the division, which obviously gives them the tiebreaker over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and then 7-5 in conference. Obviously, unless they beat them twice head-to-head. I forgot what I did there, but I probably did a split home and home. I like Atlanta. I did an over-under win total prediction. Their over-under wins was 7.5. I said over. They were 8-9 last year with not Michael Penix playing a full year. I think Michael Penix is going to be a good NFL quarterback. I really do. I might have to be quiet on that, but I think he's going to be a really good NFL quarterback this year. I think he takes the next step in his year 2. It's really his year 1, but his year 2 of being on an NFL team. Drake London, Bijan Robinson, maybe Kyle Pitts finally emerges. But obviously, if you look at Bijan Robinson and Drake London, I think they're talented in the secondary. I think they're talented defensively. They added a lot. They added a lot on the defensive line early in this year's draft, giving up a future first to the Rams to get James Pierce. I think Atlanta is a playoff team this year. I think they're a division team, and they go 10-7. So that means Atlanta is going to come in as the 4 seed in the NFC. And then my final division, the NFC West, kind of cut off at the end, but you can see the Arizona Cardinals going 7-10, 3-3 in division, and 5-7 in conference. This team is going to be your typical Arizona Cardinals team over the last couple years. Start hot. Their schedule early on, first 5 games are not hard. Start hot, fizzle late, and miss the postseason. I like Kyler Murray. I think he's a solid NFL quarterback. Is he an elite top 10 superstar quarterback? No, and no. And in order to win in this league, you need that or have a super talented roster around them. They don't. I like Trey McBride. If you missed it if you follow us on social media, I put him as my 3rd best tight end behind George Kittle and Brock Bowers. So Trey McBride's great. Don't have 2 touchdowns again. That was bad. You cannot have that yards and have 2 touchdowns. That's a lot of wasted yards from last year from Trey McBride. Even though I still think he's a top 3 tight end, I had him at 3 in football. Needs more touchdowns than 2. And Marvin Harrison needs to have a better second year. Was he way too hyped up in year 1? Was there too much on his plate in year 1? Yes, and yes. But for where he was picked and the hype he had, not his fault, he needs to be better and more consistent in year 2. And I think he will. Defensively, they're not good. That is a weak, talented defensive team, and that's going to do them in. Inconsistent quarterback play. I do like James Conner, and I do like Trey Benson. I do like Marvin Harrison and McBride. So I think it's going to be a little bit of inconsistent quarterback play from Kyler Murray, and obviously lack of talent and lack of quality talent on that defense that gets them going 7-10. We have a new quarterback in Seattle. It's not Geno Smith. We'll be talking about Geno Smith on our AFC preview in a couple weeks and see where the Raiders finish. Seattle, Sam Darnold, Mike McDonald's 2nd year in Seattle. They moved off DK Metcalf. They have JSN. They brought in Cooper Kupp. They have Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet. I don't know if this team is good enough to go to the postseason in the NFC. I think they got better, maybe, but I don't know if they're good enough to go into the postseason. 8-9, 2-4 in the division, and 5-7 in the conference. Are they going to be an easy out week in and week out? No. Could this? If I have them going 8-9, this record could easily be 9-8 and 10-7, and we are talking about a playoff team in Seattle. So I'm nitpicking and I'm being very minuscule here because I don't think Seattle is really far away from being a playoff team. I just think they're just one win away. But there are going to be a very tough out week in and week out in the NFC. I have them going 8-9. So if you guys have been paying attention, I said Philly's in the postseason. I said Washington's in the postseason. Detroit, Green Bay in the postseason, and Atlanta's in the postseason. That means we have 2 more spots, and these are the 2 final teams in the postseason. I have the San Francisco 49ers doing their typical thing of being good, bad, good, bad, good, bad, good, bad. They were bad last year with a lot of injuries, missed the playoffs. They're going to be good this year. 10-7, 3-3 in division, 7-5 in conference, and I have them as the 6th seed in the NFC. Brock Purdy got paid. We can debate all day if that was right or wrong. He's a solid, good NFL quarterback. It's really a couple things. If it's Ricky Purcell can stay healthy, Brandon Ayuk can stay healthy. Those are 2 keys. Obviously, George Kittle was tremendous last year. I had him as the best tight end as my ranking, so he's the best tight end in football. So he's an elite weapon for Brock Purdy is if CMC can stay healthy. I think defensively they're going to be fine. I trust Kyle Shanahan to create a competent offense. If Brandon Ayuk, Ricky Purcell, and then most importantly CMC, Christian McCaffrey stay healthy, this team is going back to the postseason. They aren't winning the division, but they're going back to the postseason at 10-7. And the team that I have winning the division, that is the Los Angeles Rams. If you missed my over-under prediction episode, I had the Rams going over 9.5 wins. They were over that last year and struggled in the first month with injuries. The biggest caveat for this team is the health of Matthew Stafford's back. If he is cleared and he is ready to go week 1, even week 2, I guess, this team is a division winning team. This team's going to battle for the 1 seed in the NFC. I have them missing out. I have them going as the 3 seed based off a tiebreaker. So they, like you could see, I have the Lions and Eagles all 12-5 with the Rams. Just a couple tiebreakers there with the Lions getting the 1 seed, with the Eagles getting the 2 seed, and the Rams getting the 3 seed. Rams 12-5, 4-2 in division, and 8-4 in conference. Health. They added Devontae Adams. They they extended Kyron Williams. Puka Nacua needs to stay healthy. I trust the secondary enough to not be a massive liability. Their D-line is going to get even older in a good way because they were super young last year and super talented, led by Jared Verse, who's a top 10 edge rusher already after just 1 year in the National Football League. Puka Nacua needs to stay healthy. They need a good year from Devontae Adams. And if Matthew Stafford, the biggest X factor here, if he can stay healthy, they will win that division and go 12-5. Lovely stuff. We'll talk about what I have in the postseason right now, but my 7 teams that I have the, let's see, Lions 1 seed, Eagles 2 seed, Rams 3 seed, 4 seed, Falcons 4 division winners right there. And then I have Packers 5, 49ers 6, 7 seed, Commanders. So that's what I have right now for you guys. And I can obviously, I'm just looking over my screen. I'll give you guys my predictions right now. Lions get a bye to the division round like they did last year. 2 seed Eagles, 7 seed Commanders. I'm going to go fast because we're going to do a postseason when it comes. It was more about the divisions, and I just listed off the things. It was more about who's winning each division and breaking down each team in our NFC preview. I like Eagles to beat the Commanders in the 2-7 game. 6 seed 49ers at the 3 seed Rams. I like the Rams to win. And then the first higher seed to beat the lower seed. I like Green Bay as the 5 seed going into Atlanta as the 4 seed to move on to the divisional round. Now we have an interdivisional matchup, 5 seed Green Bay at 1 seed Detroit. I think Detroit so Commanders get bounced on the wild card round this year because they kind of fall down a little and become a 7 seed instead of making the NFC Championship game. Last year they were a wild card team. People kind of forget about that. They were a wild card team last year that just went on a nice run to the NFC Championship game last year. 5 seed Packers at 1 seed Lions. I like the Lions to get over that hump of the divisional round. Oh, I guess 2 years ago they made the NFC Championship game and lost to the 49ers. But revenge of last year losing in the divisional round. I like them to get the win. 3 seed Rams at 2 seed Eagles, a rematch. And sorry, Rams fans, I'm really pulling for you guys. But once again, I think the Eagles get the best of you. So we have what people thought would have been the NFC Championship matchup last year. 2 seed Philly. So Philly's not hosting this one. At 1 seed Detroit. And Lions fans, rejoice. I have the Lions going to the Super Bowl. That is my NFC preview for each division. That is my NFC playoff predictions. In our next episode, we'll be breaking down the AFC. So you guys will see who wins the AFC East, the AFC South, the AFC North, I flipped them, and AFC West, and then who will be facing the Detroit Lions in the Super Bowl. So I have the Lions coming out of the NFC. Once again, my 4 division winners are the Eagles, Detroit, the Falcons, and the Rams. My 3 wildcard teams are the Packers, the San Francisco 49ers, and the Washington Commanders. And like I said, I'll give you guys one surprise team and one disappointing team. We'll bring the screen back up here. My surprise team in the NFC will be the Atlanta Falcons. Their over-under win total is 8.5. Was it 8.5? No, 7.5. I think they did win the division, get to double-digit wins. 10-7 is my surprise team in Atlanta. I think another surprise team, maybe Dallas, I guess, a surprise team. I really don't have any other surprise. Maybe Seattle if they win 1 or 2 games. And my most disappointing team, I think it's pretty obvious here, is the Minnesota Vikings. 14-3 last year, fizzled out early in the postseason. And then you have the fizzled out early in the postseason after playing in the wild card round and losing to the Rams. That's what I was trying to who did the Rams beat in the wild card round last year? And that was the Vikings. I have the Vikings going under their 8.5 win total, going 6-11. So they go from 14-3 to a postseason berth to 6-11 and not a postseason berth. And a lot of questions are going to be asked about Minnesota and JJ McCarthy. This is not the last time you guys will see me talking about the NFL, but next week we'll be dropping our college football preview. So you guys do not want to miss that. If you guys missed any of this episode, rewind and all that, check that out. Maybe I'll recap it in our AFC preview, but I had the Lions going to the Super Bowl. Stay tuned in 2 weeks for our AFC preview. JR will be joining us for that episode. We'll give you guys our AFC predictions, and I'll let you guys know who I have facing the Lions in the Super Bowl. As always, get on Underdog Fantasy. Use code TSP for a 100% deposit match up to $100 on Underdog Fantasy. Best time NFL college football season, link in the description. So make sure you guys do that and get on Underdog Fantasy. No idea why I just did that with my voice. When you talk for 27 minutes, I guess your voice does weird stuff. And as always, follow us on social media on X and on Instagram at Talking Sports PD. We just dropped our top 10 tight ends. We still have to do our wide receivers, our running backs, and our quarterbacks. College football weekly picks, college football weekly rankings, NFL weekly picks. And like I said in the beginning of the episode, we're not doing a awards podcast or episode. I have obviously I gave you guys my playoff predictions, my Super Bowl prediction out of the NFC. We'll give you guys our AFC one, but I will be posting a graphic on X and on Instagram with our award predictions. So make sure you guys follow us on social media at Talking Sports PD. Don't go anywhere. Do not go anywhere. If you're an Apple Podcast, Spotify, or YouTube, like, comment, and subscribe on YouTube. Road to 5K continues. But like I said, do not go anywhere. NFC preview, you just finished listening and watching to it. College football preview next week. Great season on board for the college football season. And then our AFC preview to see who will be facing the Detroit Lions in the Super Bowl and who will be winning all the divisions, who's disappointing, who's surprising, all that fun stuff. So more NFL content will be coming your way. And as like I said, college football content right around the corner. Follow us on social media, like, comment, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you.